The cartels as the core national security threat that they really are. The cartels are waging war on America, and just as
11:42 p.m. Interstate 40, somewhere between Oklahoma City and Little Rock. The highway was a river of darkness, illuminated only by the passing headlights of long-haul freight moving east. An Arkansas state trooper parked in the median flipped on his lights and pulled out behind a massive 18-wheeler. It was a routine Department of Transportation safety stop. The truck belonged to Transnational Freight Services, America's third-largest trucking carrier. It was a brand seen on every highway in the country, trusted by major corporations to move everything from automotive parts to consumer electronics. The driver, a 6-year veteran with a clean record, pulled over onto the gravel shoulder. He was polite. His logbook was perfect. The paperwork checked out. To the naked eye, this was just another load of industrial machinery heading to Atlanta. But when inspectors ran a portable density scanner along the side of the trailer, the machine flagged an anomaly. The cargo listed on the manifest didn't match the density readings. The steel parts should have been heavier. The scanner showed a discrepancy of 400 pounds. The inspectors drilled a small, precise hole into the interior wall of the trailer. They didn't hit insulation or fiberglass. The drill bit punched through a false panel and struck a hydraulic void. They peeled back the wall. Inside the hidden compartment, stacked with industrial precision, were 340 kilograms of pure cocaine.
Drugs and arresting 3 men alleged to be controlled by a Southeast Asian crime syndicate that's made its way to a...
It was wrapped in plastic stamped with a Cartel Scorpion logo and worth $12 million on the street. At that moment, the officers thought they had caught a rogue smuggler. They were wrong. As they detained the driver, he didn't ask for a lawyer. He looked at the investigators with the exhausted expression of a man who had been waiting to get caught. He told them the truth. He wasn't a rogue operator. He was an employee following orders. And the orders weren't coming from a dispatcher. They were coming from a cartel. What he revealed in that interrogation room would terrify the FBI. Transnational Freight Services hadn't just been infiltrated. It had been bought. The investigation revealed that in 2022, the company was sold for $850 million to an investment group called American Logistics Partners. Business News reported it as a standard corporate acquisition. Operations continued. The trucks kept rolling. The 8,000 employees kept their jobs. But American Logistics Partners was a ghost. It was a shell company controlled directly by the Sinaloa Cartel.
The Sinaloa Cartel. Written in Spanish, the warnings say, quote, "You will be the ones to blame. We'll show you."
The $850 million used to buy the company wasn't venture capital. It was laundered drug money. For 2 years, the cartel didn't just run a trucking company. They weaponized it. Drugs crossed the Mexican border and arrived at Transnational's hub in El Paso, a facility fully under cartel control. There, 32 cartel operatives, working as warehouse staff, loaded narcotics into specially modified trailers alongside legitimate freight. These trucks were assigned to 89 specific drivers who had been corrupted by the network. They drove standard routes to distribution hubs in Atlanta, Chicago, and Dallas. To police and the public, it looked like business as usual. But behind the corporate logo, they were moving industrial quantities of poison. Over 5 years, this network moved 180 tons of cocaine and 45 tons of methamphetamine. The FBI realized arresting one driver wouldn't stop them. They were facing a $3 billion empire. If they tipped their hand too early, the cartel would shred the records and disappear.
Drug cartels in Mexico. Fox's Kennedy Hayes is live in Denver tonight with more on the takedown.
They needed a plan to take down the entire structure at once. If you support the FBI agents fighting these cartels, hit the like button and comment "Hold the line" below. The operation was codenamed Rolling Thunder. For 3 weeks, the FBI worked in total secrecy. They subpoenaed shipping records, tracing patterns where trucks made suspicious deviations. They installed GPS trackers on the vehicles of the suspected 89 drivers. Surveillance teams watched as transnational trucks pulled into warehouses where no legitimate cargo was unloaded. By July 2025, the trap was set. The FBI identified 23 warehouses across 14 states acting as distribution hubs. But the logistical challenge was a nightmare. How do you arrest 89 drivers constantly moving across the highway system? How do you raid 23 facilities simultaneously? On July 15th at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, the answer came. Across 18 states, FBI SWAT teams, DEA agents, and state police units moved into position, tracking real-time GPS signals of every target. Some drivers were asleep in their cabs. Others were driving. Some were loading cargo. At 5:30 a.m., surveillance teams went from observe to engage. In Texas, on Interstate 10, 3 transnational semi-trucks moved in convoy toward Houston. To the drivers, the flashing lights looked like a routine enforcement stop. But when they pulled over, they didn't see a lone state trooper. They saw a phalanx of FBI tactical vehicles boxing them in. Agents moved fast, weapons drawn, pulling drivers from their cabs before they could reach encrypted phones. K9 units alerted on the trailers. Density scanners located void spaces. Agents peeled back interior panels. Behind the fiberglass walls, they found 600 kilograms of cocaine, preventing cocaine from reaching Sydney streets. 128 kilos imported over the weekend, stacked like bricks. At the same moment in Georgia, a truck stop turned into a raid zone. 4 transnational drivers were drinking coffee in a diner booth when FBI teams swept in, arresting them mid-conversation. Outside, their trucks were seized, millions of dollars in narcotics parked beside families on road trips. The most intense action was in Illinois. A transnational warehouse outside Chicago, officially listed as an automotive parts hub, was breached by FBI SWAT teams. It wasn't storage, it was a processing plant. Agents found 12 cartel operatives on payroll, unpacking shipments and extracting 2 tons of methamphetamine from hollowed-out industrial machinery. Chemical dust filled the air. Legitimate freight sat ignored in the corner. We are tracking the court cases for every driver involved. Hit subscribe so you don't miss updates. Meanwhile, the heart of the operation was cut out in Memphis, Tennessee, as federal agents descended on Transnational's corporate headquarters. Employees stood in shock, realizing their paychecks were funded by the Sinaloa cartel.
Cocaine from reaching Sydney streets, 128 kilos imported over the weekend, and detectives.
Agents moved directly to the executive suites and arrested 12 high-ranking managers who knew the truth. These insiders facilitated the buyout and cooked the books. Servers were seized, revealing real ledgers documenting $2.4 billion in laundered drug proceeds. By 2 p.m., the scorecard was staggering. All 89 drivers arrested, 23 warehouses secured, 18 tons of cocaine seized, 4 tons of methamphetamine, 680 kilograms of fentanyl, $67 million in cash. Engineering analysis showed why the network survived. Hidden compartments were masterpieces, built into fuel tanks, hydraulic floorboards, accessible only by magnetic key codes. Standard inspections never stood a chance. The cartel didn't just use trucks. They re-engineered them. As the dust settled, the fallout hit hard. Transnational wasn't a ghost company, it moved real goods. With fleets grounded and accounts frozen, supply chains buckled. Detroit assembly lines stopped. Grocery deliveries failed. The takedown was a law enforcement triumph and an economic earthquake. On July 16th, the Attorney General addressed the nation. The Sinaloa cartel didn't just infiltrate a trucking company. They purchased one. For 5 years, American highways were cartel corridors. Yesterday, we shut it down.
Sinaloa cartel kingpin Margarito J. Flores Jr., who joins us here on set. Jay, it's great to see you again. We've been together.
Federal indictments were overwhelming. All 89 drivers faced conspiracy charges with mandatory minimums of 15 to 40 years. The 12 executives were charged with running a continuing criminal enterprise, punishable by life without parole. Within 2 months, 76 drivers accepted plea deals. The remaining 13 went to trial and were convicted. But justice carried tragedy. Transnational filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Assets were seized. The cartel's $850 million was forfeited. Legitimate assets were auctioned, but 7,000 innocent employees lost jobs, pensions, and health care. They were collateral damage. Congress acted swiftly. The case exposed a blind spot: no real vetting of private equity buyers of critical infrastructure. New transparency laws were drafted. A corporate infiltration task force was created. Drug trade impact was immediate. Interstate truck trafficking dropped 41%. The cartel lost its super highway.
Cartels in Venezuela. The president says he'd also be proud to bomb sites in Mexico. Our investigative reporter Chuck.
In Memphis, Transnational's headquarters now stands empty. Signs removed. A monument to ambition corrupted by greed. The white trucks were repainted and reassigned. Legitimate freight replaced poison. The narcotics were incinerated. The 89 drivers are serving federal sentences. Men with steady jobs who traded freedom for cartel cash. They thought the company's size would protect them. They were wrong. This case proved no corporation is too big to fail. When agencies share intelligence, corporate anonymity collapses. American commerce is the nation's lifeblood. Operation Rolling Thunder sent a clear message. American highways are not for sale. If you believe securing the supply chain matters, comment justice below. Stay vigilant.